We're here with Brendon from Pickles, which is one of the major companies in Australia that auctions secondhand vehicles, and they have a lot of electric car growth. One really big thing that people are worried about, whether they're familiar with electric cars or not, is battery state of health. Now, I understand that every single electric car that's sold by Pickles comes with a battery test certificate showing how much battery degradation has happened so far, if any, because sometimes there's none, and what sort of situation the battery is in. Do you think that helps people feel more confident?
Please contribute. It really helps my independent, honest journalism for you.
Absolutely. We launched this program in July this year. It's not exactly on 100% of assets, but it's on probably 90% plus of assets. So there's a few cars that we can't test. Some of the really older, some of the older EVs that we may not be able to test. But if a brand new car came to Australia, we sell on behalf of financiers, if it was a repossession as well, and the vehicle hadn't quite been aligned, the software is actually out of Europe. So sometimes there might be some cars released down here that aren't necessarily released up there. Think about some of the new Chinese entrants. Australia's getting everything before other parts of the world have got it. But the vast majority have got a test on it. So the test will be a percentage out of 100 generally. There's actually two scores. There's a score that comes directly from our testing partner, Avaloo, and then there's the battery management health system score as well. So as a consumer, you can compare what the independent score says versus what the OEM says that comes straight off the battery, straight out of the battery management system. Majority of EVs, you can't actually go and have a look on the dash to see what that score was. So you do need a piece of software like we're running that we try and test as many cars as they arrive in Australia, as they arrive at our branches, to then display it to the customers. Photo number 2 on our website of all of the vehicles listed, you will see if there's basically what the battery score is. And it'll also see what the adjusted range is as well. So lots of valuable information there on the test. You can actually download the test in PDF, go right through everything, look at all the cells, a whole bunch of things that goes over my head, but really important information for those that want to dive in and look at a battery's health.
That is really good. And I'm really glad that your company is doing that. And I believe some of your competitors might have started doing the same as well, but not all of them. Like, there are some big car listing websites in Australia that still just have automatically, almost looks like AI populated sometimes, because it's not always accurate, private sales of secondhand, third-hand electric cars. And there's no battery testing certificate usually. And even just the things like range are sometimes not even accurate. So you're providing a good service in that way. 1, more confidence from people that the battery's in decent nick. And 2, specific stats about how much range has it lost. Maybe only 5 or 10K, which is insignificant. And if the health is fine, then they can just look at the rest of the car. What is Pickles, Brendon?
Yeah, good question. Pickles is an auction company. We've been around since the 1960s. We turn over $3 billion worth of assets across our business. That's across the motor vehicle division, salvage side, which is all the written-off vehicles, and then the truck and machinery and industrial asset space. So those 3 pillars, of which, I work in the motor vehicle division. We sell about 70,000 motor vehicles on behalf of our customers every year. And I'm the general manager of automotive solutions for Pickles. So I focus a lot on the EV space for cars, also for the salvage space, and obviously it's emerging in the truck and machinery space too.
Are you in every Australian capital city or certain particular locations particularly, if people want to look for secondhand EV auctions?
Yeah, we've got over 20 locations across Australia, every major capital city, plus the likes of Townsville, Newcastle, Dubbo, Tamworth, Rockhampton, Alice Springs, a few other places as well. So we've got a very good national network, and that's why we get a lot of customers sending us their vehicles at end of lease, whether they're ICE cars, and obviously we're here to talk about EVs, but our footprint is national, and it's certainly the largest of all of our competitors across Australia. So really easy for people to find us in a location near to them.
Okay. I mean, that's better than some of the new car brand dealership spread, actually, in terms of availability. Though, of course, your cars wouldn't completely new, so they'll be mostly brands that existed a year or 2 or 3 ago for electric cars.
That's correct. In fact, the average EV that we're selling is around 2.5 years of age with around 30,000 kilometres on it. So they're fairly young assets, obviously with a lot of OEM manufacturer warranty off the back of them being used EVs. EVs today are still only 2% of what we sell. It's, of the 70,000 cars. So it's small, but it's growing. I think we've had, 300% growth year on year, but that's coming off a small base. Now we're selling, around 110 used EVs every single month across our national network.
Okay, that's a good point mentioning warranty, because people are always asking me about warranty from different car buying locations. I guess is it residual manufacturer warranty, and does it come with proof of servicing for vehicles?
Yeah, look, obviously the servicing varies a little bit. A lot of the assets we sell are on behalf of major governments. So we've got contracts with the Victorian government, South Australian government, Tasmanian government, WA, and the like, and major fleet companies right across Australia. Between those two is a high proportion of what we sell, along with not-for-profit. Where else? A few dealer trades, a few rental cars, corporations, a whole range of different customers that'll give us novated end of novated lease customers as well, give us their cars, and that's when we're selling them on behalf. So we actually don't own the asset. We're selling it on behalf of the customer. But generally, unless we're talking about first generation Nissan Leafs and the like, most of the EVs we're selling today have still got a long amount of manufacturer warranty that typically just gets passed on by the OEM when you acquire that car. With regards to servicing, it's even easier these days. There's a lot less servicing required in an EV than there is an ICE car, for instance. So even if a car is a little bit light on in the servicing across its life before it came to us, getting it back on track is not hard, back through the major manufacturers and the OEM networks, the servicing networks. And so warranty typically just passes straight to the consumer or to the dealer. And we've got, 50% of what we're selling today is being bought directly by a mum or a dad or, an end user, and about 45% by the dealer network. Dealers are still getting familiar with buying and selling used electric vehicles. They've taken a little bit longer to get their head around it than, say, some of the early adopters in the consumer space. So the consumers have been with us, since day one. We started to sell used EVs across our network.
Right. Do people just tend to buy looking at it online, like they would buy from Amazon or eBay, or can they actually visit and, open the door, check the wear and tear on the fabrics or things like that?
Yeah, so we actually are closed to inspection. So there are some cars in our fixed price area, which are a semi-retail type offering, where you can go and make an appointment like you would at a dealership, open the car door and have a conversation with the fixed price consultant. But the vast majority, 90% plus, is just all done over the internet these days with highly detailed condition reports that lists all the bumps and blemishes. We've got high resolution photographs, so you can drill right in to have a look at any bumps and, blemishes, scratches, dents and the like off our website. So these days, yeah, it's all done remotely. And I think that's the good thing with EVs. It doesn't matter so much about the service history, whether it starts. None of us test drive anyway, so it's not like you could go along to a Pickles location or any other our competitors and test drive. It's they are what they are. So and that's all just from a logistics perspective of having 300 cars on one site. Trying to let cars out would be a nightmare. So yeah, it's essentially everything's digital for us these days. And as I said before, we've still got not 55% of the EVs being purchased directly by a consumer. They haven't driven that car. They may have done that elsewhere to get a feel for what the brand, and that's something we encourage them to do is, do your homework and then come along to us, and you'll be saving some serious money from what you would a brand new EV these days. And that was the whole point of the battery health piece, was to bring transparency, to bring confidence to those buyers, because you're right, most sellers of used EVs today don't have those certificates. So, we're seeing some cars, and a minority, but, we just tested a Polestar that's done 230,000 kilometres, and it's got a percentage of 89%. Now, there is no way in the world you could bid confidently in that car unless it had a certificate, with those kind of kilometres. Kilometres doesn't actually necessarily lead to poor degradation, poor battery health or major degradation. But again, it's just that safety net of, what if? Equally, I've seen Nissan Leafs come in that are 3 years old with a drop cell, and one's only done 4,000 kilometres recently. So it's really important to have a certificate when you're looking at a used EV, because you really don't know the state of that battery unless you can see it for yourself before you go and buy it.
Yeah, wow, that's really good. And I'll show on screen some examples of different certificates for cars that are up for sale at the moment, if that's all right, just as
Sure.
an example. Now, Is there a separate warranty as well, like, or just residual manufacturers? Like, if you bought from a dealer, there would be X amount of months, drive it back to the dealer in case something goes wrong? Or is it sort of caveat emptor, buyer beware kind of thing?
It is buyer beware, and whether that's a government auction or a fleet auction or a repossessed auction. In our fixed price area, semi-retail area, if the vehicle is out of warranty, there's a 3-month, 5,000 kilometre warranty that you would experience. But typically, the OEM warranty, and we've not heard of any OEM. I haven't heard of many OEMs having major battery issues, full stop. B, I haven't heard of anybody bouncing a customer that's bought from somewhere like Pickles or another dealership with a battery issue. And I suspect, given they're such a new product and particularly a lot of these new OEMs that are trying to establish themselves, the last thing they would want is to end up with an issue in a media fiasco about bouncing someone in a warranty period just because they bought from auction. So very highly unlikely. Everyone should do their homework, and like, it is a buyer beware situation. But we're not hearing of any OEMs that are bouncing any warranties at this point.
Okay. Now, in terms of, you said there's a lot of growth in secondhand EV sales, but from a low floor. Are there any particular kind of patterns or trends, like just purely guesswork? I'm guessing a lot of Teslas, because they were one of the biggest brands to have good sales volume in Australia initially. Possibly, I'm guessing maybe a decent number of Polestar 2s, because a large proportion of them went to Uber and other rideshare rental companies and lease companies like Splend, and they might be coming off their lease period now.
Yeah. So Tesla is about 50% of what we sell, and has been for some time. That said, we do sell a fair bit of Hyundai product. They seem to have done quite well in penetrating into the governments and the fleets. Then outside of that, it's Kia, BYD, Nissan, BMW, pretty much all of the brands. Maybe not the latest Chinese brands that have come, but there's quite a mix out there. So I think it's about 50% Tesla at the moment, and that'll keep reducing, I think, over time as more and more brands start to feature. Now, if you think about the average lease time, it's typically 3 to 4 years, I guess. So we're expecting more, say, BYD product, given they've done so well in the marketplace over the next couple of years. We're still seeing some. We saw a BYD Shark that was a repossession only a couple of months ago. We just never know what's going to come in the door next, given the eclectic mix of buyers. But we can always guarantee there's always X amount of Model Ys and Model 3s, Ioniqs, Konas, Leafs, Attos. Yeah, there's a whole range of different cars.
That makes sense. The mass market ones, but also governments and corporate fleets tend to buy certain brands repeatedly more often, like the Korean EVs, etc., or Teslas, etc.
Yeah. And that's because they'll have a preferred list of brands that they've done a tender with, and so then they're taking a ball on that product, whether that's ICE or EV. That's the way they roll. But yes, we do get Polestars as well. I should have said before. We've got a few more around at the moment. There's some high mileage ones in there at the moment, which may or may not be from a rideshare type way, but that's, equally we've got some that are 10 to 12 Ks as well. So, there's a whole range of different vehicles with it. So that's a good thing. We've got a lot of different price range cars from in the mid-teens through to the 50, 60 grand, depending on what it might be. But you can, for instance, get into a Model Y Tesla that might be 2 to 2.5 years old for less than $40,000 right now. So that's a significant savings from what you would pay at brand new, and we think is a really good value proposition for those people that want to move into the EV space but may not have the $60,000, $70,000 budget to sort of get into it. A really good opportunity, particularly with all that manufacturer warranty that sits behind it, and another couple of years warranty. And I think, so at the moment, the battery health certificate is a really good, it's really great to see what battery health is at that point when you're transacting. But I think in the future, as we get towards cars that are 5 and 6 years of age that are getting closer to those OEM expiry dates, it'll be mission critical to understand what that battery health is, because the warranty will be out, in a year's time or something like that. So I think the value prop for these certificates is great now, but I think it's going to get even better into the future as cars start to age a bit more.
And actually, mentioning warranty, viewers should be aware, often electric cars and normal other ICE cars have 2 kind of year limits for warranty. For example, Tesla has a 4-year for the base car and a longer for the battery. Some other brands are like 5 years for the car, like Polestar. Some are 7 years, like Kia and Hyundai. MG has 10 years for the car, different for the battery. So it varies a lot by brand. So have a look to try and find out from a dealer for that car or customer service online, what was the warranty for the car model that you're looking on Pickles for at the time of its sale, because it could have changed by now. Like Hyundai used to have a 5-year base model warranty, but recently they changed it to 7. And MG had 7 and then 10, but they've changed the conditions a few times as well. So yeah, bear that in mind. It won't be exactly the same probably as whatever warranty is being offered right now.
I think so. We've sold 40 different models over the past 6 months. So we're getting there's a lot of models. We always hear there's a lot of models available in Australia, but we get such a strong mix coming through. There's such good choice out there for customers. And so we've got literally cars rocking up every day across our branches. And they're normally put to market within, 10 to 15 days of them arriving at our sites. So literally, you can have a My Pickles account and you can set alerts for MG or BYD or whatever brands you might like to get an alert and an email to say these vehicles are available. So there's a lot of functionality within that My Pickles account that, if you sign up, it's free to sign up. It then enables you to, do some more homework and really get alerts as to what might be coming. There's things like our finance on our site as well. So if you don't have finance, you can get a pre-approved amount to say $30,000 and you can find the car of your dreams for $1,000 bid and away you go. So there's lots of little advantages to sort of transacting with Pickles. But I think the good thing with us is across the board that the quality of the cars are there because of the nature of the ex-government, ex-fleet, ex-corporate cars. So we know most of them are typically one owner because they're coming to us literally out of a lease. And so they've all got a strong background in terms of knowing where that story is for those cars. And as I said before, all with the state of health, and that really helps to, the customer really knowing the health of the battery before they go on part ways.
Actually,
with their
that's a good point. Does it say who the previous owner was?
It doesn't. No, it doesn't. We tend to keep that to ourselves, but there are certain auctions. As you log into an auction, there is fleet and government auctions. So the names of the auction sometimes give away, like Victorian government auction. It's pretty obvious who that might be. But there's a fleet auction. There's, we've got, a large market share amongst all the fleet companies right across Australia. So we gather those cars and we sell them, we have I think we have about 15 auctions a week across our motor vehicle division, a couple every day, and the vehicles there might be repossessed vehicles sold together, government vehicles sold together, fleet vehicles sold together. So when you dig in and you register for those auctions, you can quickly see the types of assets that you're chasing. So, and then we've actually got specific EV auctions too. So there's an online one, which is more like an eBay auction that runs from a Tuesday night to a Thursday night. And there's typically 40 odd EVs and hybrids that might be sitting in that. We've got an EV landing page, which you might want to show your customers that too, where you can navigate straight to an EV, all the EVs and the hybrids we have for Pickles, and you can navigate quickly to open up every EV on the Pickles site, and there'll be 50 odd at any given time. And you can do your homework from there, filter down by brand, model, kilometre ranges, whole range of different things.
Right. And in terms of price, when you bid, let's say 30 grand, is that plus particular fees and charges, or is that's it?
No, there's a buyer's fee on top. So I think it's $650 plus 1.33% of whatever the bid price is. So, and then there is an EV administration fee on top of that, which sort of covers some of the cost of getting the certificate and arranging the certificate and the like, which is actually shared with both the customer and the seller and the customer. We thought there was both definitely value for both parties, so we sort of shared the cost of that certificate, producing the certificate, maintaining it, and all administration across both parties. So for an extra $100, I think that's a valuable investment on a $35,000 car. That extra $100 to understand the battery health and what you're getting yourself into or not into. So yeah, it's a minor extra cost on the EVs than we have compared to ICE, but provides a lot more value, I think, even than what we can give with an ICE car, because we can't give that certainty. You can't do a diagnostic on every ICE car, for instance, where you basically can with an EV with the EV certificate. So it's a huge advantage to when you're buying an EV from Pickles, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Good value. Main reason I wanted to ask about the price being all inclusive or not was people sometimes get caught away with the emotion of chasing a particular thing that they want, and they should bear in mind that if you have a cap of that much money in your bank account, then bid a bit less, because you've got to cover all those fees and charges as well, so you don't get caught out by accident.
Correct. And it'll actually say on the vehicle, whether there's on the listing of the vehicle, whether there's registration on that car, because some cars come with registration. The auctioneer will sometimes call that out as they're through the auction. So auctions are both online, like an eBay auction, and then we've got the live streamed auctions where you can hear the auctioneer bidding and you're highly interactive with that. So if you're going to bid and go in the live auctions, best to sort of get your grounding and listen to a few auctions first, get the lay of the land, and then be prepared, because often it's done and dusted. Your lot comes up and it's done and dusted inside 60 seconds. So it's worthwhile having a bit of a trial run at it over a couple of days before you're going to pull the trigger and bid on that MG or that BYD or whatever vehicle. Just do a bit of homework first, because it really pays. And there's no special way in which you can bid. Leaving it to the last minute often, because the pace of the auction isn't great, because the hammer might come down before you've actually had that chance to bid. So bid up, bid early is what we would say, particularly because those vehicles come through, that we mightn't see that exact color combination, kilometer combination for a little bit of time. If it's a Cupra Born, for instance, something you're chasing a bit unique, or, a Lexus product or whatever, have a go at it if it comes up, because we may not see those again as quickly as we might a Model 3, Model Y, which tend to come through more often, I guess.
Fair enough. I imagine it's very fast speaking, like a house auction. So,
correct.
Yeah, you don't want to wait till the last second, because they might finish by then.
No, well, it's about 5 times quicker than the block. It's more like a horse race than it is a house auction, I've got to say. So, yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you for your time, Brendon. And also, hopefully, you'll have time in 6 to 12 months to catch up and see what's happening, because this is obviously a clear growth area for you, and there'll be more choice and better prices. Yeah, great value for people who are willing to take a punt on a second hand rather than going to a car dealer and paying full ticket price. Bearing in mind, obviously, what we said previously, which is be aware of what warranty is left and how old the car is. And it's always a good point. Like, I'm a very tall person. If possible, like Brendon said, go and sit in an example of that car. Make sure you fit, it's comfortable for you, for your family, and before you click on the bid and then realize that someone who's 6'3" doesn't fit, for argument's sake.
That's a good, really good advice. And yeah, look, happy to stay connected over the next 6 to 12 months, where we love sharing all the insights around battery health. At the moment, the average battery health is sitting at 96% of every car we've tested. That's a good, indication. Over 4 years is over 90%, over 93%, over 120,000 kilometers is around 90%. So some really good battery scores on that's of 1,500 cars we've tested to date. So that's what you're getting yourself into, a very healthy battery from the get-go. Thanks for your time. I really appreciate it.
Excellent. Cheers.
Thanks for liking, subscribing, and sharing my videos. It really helps me make more videos like this for you. And have a look at the suggested videos up above. I'm pretty sure you'll like those as well. Thanks, and see you later.